Namaskar. Good morning. Today we will be talking about the science behind Indian bells. We will be talking about the composition of the bell metal, the techniques how the bells are made, starting with the historical background. Well, firstly, we will have a light on the importance of the bells in Indian culture. The first one is the cultural significance. Bells, what we see in the local name called Ghanta or Ghanti, the bigger ones are called Ghanta and the smaller ones are called Ghantis, are integral form to Indian rituals and are used in temples, homes, and ceremonies to invoke divinity and create a sacred ambience. Secondly, they have a spiritual role, and ringing a bell is believed to dispel negative energies and focus the mind during worship. It symbolizes an invitation to the divine to enter the sacred space. Scriptural mentions say that in Shastras or in texts like Agam Shastra and Vastu Shastra, they mention that bells are essential for temple architecture and rituals. When we trace the historic origin, they are mentioned in Vedic rituals and in the present talk to follow, we will understand the unique sonic properties of these temple bells. As far as historical origins is concerned, the earliest evidence is found in the Indus Valley excavations at Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, believed to be around 2500 BC. And they have revealed small bronze bells indicating an early use of metallic sound. And these bells have been used for domestic rituals, animal adornment, or early proto-religious practices. And these show that advanced knowledge of metallurgy. In post-Vedic times, temple architecture grew and they integrated bells as the ritual tools. And bell ringing marks the start of a worship, signifying the devotee's transition from the mundane to the spiritual realm. And bells were placed at temple entrances and hung from carved brackets and sometimes cast with sacred yantras or inscriptions. There is a slok in Atharveda. Sharvani Shuddhi Manam Hanta Pavitram Itiyan, signifying that let the bell, pure and sanctified, bring about complete purification. There is another slok in Agam Shastra, like Agamantham tu Devanam Gamanarth tu Rakshasam Ghantanam Yadya Karyam Devaham Lakshanam, symbolizing that I ring this bell to invite the divine and to dispel negative forces. The bell sound signifies the arrival of divinity. And the spiritual science behind this spiritual belief is that the bell's resonant frequency is believed to synchronize both the hemisphere of the brain, enhancing the mental clarity and devotion. The sound is often associated with the sacred symbol Om, the primordial vibration in the Indian philosophy. When we come to the cultural significance, it has a role in all the religions, Hinduism or Buddhism or Jain rituals. In Hinduism, bells are rung during pujas to invite deities and mark the presence of the divine. In Buddhism, temple bells symbolize wisdom and emptiness used in meditative practices to focus. And in Jainism, bells are part of temple entry rituals, symbolize inner purification. Whereas ghanta that are hung in temples at the entrances, believed to dispel evil and negative energies, and the sound is considered as auspicious auditory signal, creating a sacred environment. And there are also bells used in classical Indian dance in the form of ghungroos and there are two types. The ankle bells, which are called ghungroos, they are worn by dancers in forms like Bharatanatyam, Kathak, and Odissi. And they are used to emphasize rhythm and footwork. And moreover, they are played in ensembles or devotional music to keep rhythm and add melodic texture. As far as types of Indian bells is concerned, the first one is the temple bell, the huge one, which we call ghanta, and it is usually made of bronze or a five metal alloy called punch nail. And the material used is a alloy primarily constituted by bronze, and design is often large with inscriptions or motifs of deities. And the function is to drive away evil and invoke divine presence through sound vibrations. The second one is the ritual bells, which are hand-handled, and they are used in rituals mostly by worshippers at home. And the symbolizes, that represents Prakriti, nature, and the bell sound signifies the eternal home. The third ones are the animal bells, which are worn by cattle, oxen, camels, and elephants, especially in rural and ceremonial contexts. And the function is to identify animals and alerts owners about their movements. And as far as crafting is concerned, they are made from brass or iron also. And now also we come to the decorative bells, which are worn as a garments in jewelry and attached to your clothes. They have an aesthetic role, and they are prominent in classical attire. Now we come to the metallurgy. So as far as metallurgical composition is concerned, they are primarily made of bronze, which is an alloy of copper and tin. Copper is nearly 80% and tin is 20%. And this alloy is used because of its acoustic quality. The copper-tin ratio creates a metal that vibrates uniformly, producing clear, long-sustaining tones. It's a highly durable metal, resistant to corrosion, and form an ideal for long-term uses. And it can be easily cast into intricate shapes. So this is why we use bronze, because of the acoustics and easy to make. And there are certain variants also available, like the alloy base of copper and tin can be modified by using silver and iron also. So the bell crafting traditions are concerned, there are various techniques. And the metals used are generally, as we talked about, the primary are the copper and tin. The other are gold, silver, iron, and zinc. Zinc is used to make the metal more shiner, and they are believed to bring a spiritual harmony and a distinct resonant tone. And the techniques that we use, you can see in the diagram. The first one is the lost wax casting technique. This technique is still used today. And we create a wax model of the bell, and it is coated with layers of clay and allowed to dry. The wax is melted out, leaving a hollow mold inside the clay, and molten metal is poured into the mold. After cooling, the clay is broken and the reveal casts the bell. This allows for intricate designs, inscriptions, and fine tuning of acoustics. The second is the coating technique. And where the bells are made, the major centers are Kumbakonam in Tamil Nadu, Moradabad in Uttar Pradesh, and Bhubaneswar in Odisha. And all these three centers have different characteristics. Like in Kumbakonam is famous for temple bells. Moradabad is famous for decorative and ritual bells, while Bhubaneswar is famous for ritual bells only. As far as the acoustic science of bells is concerned, the first aspect is the production of standing waves and harmonics. When a bell is struck, it vibrates in complex waves, producing standing waves, and these waves form modes of vibration, resulting in a fundamental tone and multiple overtones or harmonics. And the unique sound of a bell comes from the inharmonic overtones, which create a rich resonant tone. The shape and size also affect the pitch and resonance. Larger the bells, the lower is the pitch due to slower vibration cycles. And thinner, taller bells tend to have more resonant and sustained tones. The curvature and thickness of a bell determine how sound waves reflect and combine inside the structure. And there is a unique property of Panch Loha, or the five metal bell, alloy, primarily of consisting of silver, copper, iron, zinc, or tin. And it's known for its durability, spiritual symbolism, and rich tonal quality. And bells made of this alloy have a deep, long-lasting time with complex overtones. The resonating sound of a bell is said to mimic the primordial sound, Om, considered to be the sound of the universe in Indian philosophy. And just as Om has three syllables, A, O, Ma, the bell sound also follows a harmonic progression that symbolizes creation, preservation, and dissolution. The reverberation is thought to transcend time and space, aligning the mind with cosmic rhythm. Each chakra in the body corresponds to a specific frequency. The tone of a well crafted bell is believed to stimulate the third eye and the crown chakra. The act of ringing the bell creates vibrations that pass through the body, harmonizing internal energies and preparing the mind for spiritual practices. And traditional bells are often tuned to frequency in resonance with the subtle body energies. The bell is also considered to be a purifier of space and consciousness, and it purifies the physical space by driving away the negative energies and invoking divine presence. Psychologically, it calms the mind and shifts attention inward, promoting mindfulness and sacred awareness. The echo of a bell is seen to be sonic incense, clearing psychic clutter and helping one transition from the mundane to the spiritual. As far as the architecture is concerned, and temple design, it is placed near the entrance of the Garbhagriha or the Sanctum Sanctorum, and the devotees ring the bell before stepping into the innermost space, signaling the start of a spiritual dialogue with the divine. And this act symbolizes leaving behind the material world and entering into a sacred dimension. And ancient temples are acoustically engineered to amplify the sustained reverberation of bell sounds. High ceilings, arched corridors, and stone surfaces reflect sound waves, creating a long-lasting echo that fills the sanctum and surrounding. These resonances are intended not to just for its aesthetics, but to create vibrational harmony within the worshipper. In Buddhist stupas and Tibetan monasteries, bells are used in ceremonial chants and meditative practices, and often paired with vajras, representing wisdom and method in tantric rituals. As far as modern India is concerned, the traditional bell making is recognized as the intangible cultural heritage Workshops, government schemes, and artisan cooperatives are supporting the young artisans, and the temple restoration projects are also promoting these bells. And they are also being, apart from temples and spiritual practices, they are also being used in public sculptures and urban installations. And sound installations using temple bells are found in museums and cultural spaces. And bells are central to the festivals across India. Run These portable bells are also used in processions, and large temple bells mark ceremonial beginnings. School assemblies and village events continue to use these bells for signaling time or calling attention. When we compare the Indian temple bell and the Western church bell, the Indian temple bell is used with traditional alloys, like I talked, the Panch Loha, often intricately decorated with religious motifs and typically smaller, some hand-handled, others suspended at temple entrances, and feature a clapper inside and often tuned to specific frequencies for spiritual resonances. While the Western bells produce deep, resonant, and booming tones, and they are intended for external communication, making time or events, and the sound is symbolic of divine authority. As far as symbolism is concerned, the Indian bells symbolize awakening of consciousness and invitation to the divine, while the Western bells represent the voice of God calling to the faithful. And now let's summarize. This bells symbolize a harmonious fusion of science, symbolism, and heritage. And they are rooted in the tradition and in concept like Nar Brahma. And each bell sound tells a timeless story of metal, mantra, and its meaning. So we end our session here today.